Hey guys, Desolator Magic here. It's time for more Kaldheim spoilers. I know you didn't want any more, I didn't want any more, literally nobody asked for this, but well, here's some more. First up we got Rise of the Dreadmarn, which was already leaked, so who cares? Next up we've got maybe possibly something that translates to Death Knell Berserker. You expect me not to play the clip? I'm playing the clip. So this is an Elf Berserker, and when it dies, if it had a power 3 or greater, which it starts as a 2-2, create a 2-2 Black Zombie Berserker token, which any tribal right now should just about be +3/+3 before you even finish blinking. So yeah, just die and get a free zombie card. Next up, Blood Sky Berserker, a human berserker this time. It's a 2-cost 1/1, but it says whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put 2 1/1 counters on it. It gains menace until end of turn. Well, at least it's not another Luminarch Aspirant where you get a 1/1 counter for doing absolutely dead-ass nothing. That card is the epitome of broken pushed trash. That card is like... It's the new height that Wizards is shooting for when it comes to absolutely blatantly overpowered, just card design standards violating trash. That's why I constantly reference it. It is the purest, most mathematically clearly screwed up card that I can point to say Wizards went too far. This one, I mean, okay, you gotta cast 2 spells. The thing is, though, you probably are going to, and this thing could probably be like a 7/7 for 2 mana. So yeah, this is ridiculous. This is going too far. And then giving a menace on top of that is beyond ridiculous. But, well, this is a new power level that they shot for because they don't want to make cards for standard players anymore in standard products. They want to make them for commander players. I'm not assuming that. I am repeating what they said. Next up, we've got Run Ashore. It's a 6-cost blue instant common, so this should be pretty good. Choose one or both. The owner of target non-land permanent puts it on the top or bottom of their library. Who decides? That wasn't very clear. Or return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Why the hell would you want it in their hand instead of on the top or bottom of the library? In fact, why would you want it on the top of the library instead of the bottom of the library? I guess if it has Miracle printed on it. As aforementioned, these cards are not designed for anything other than Commander. This costs 6, it is trash. I mean, for like 1 less, you can just Aether Spouts their entire line, and for 1 less than that, you can Aetherize their entire line. So, I mean, recently there was a 6-cost that would bounce everything they own back to hand. Yeah, this is trash. Next up, oh good, another one we gotta translate. All right, what does this say? Rune of Aviation. So the first rune card, here we go. So it's a 2-cost enchantment. Not an artifact. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Rune equals rock, rock equals artifact. I mean, I'm just saying. Well, I guess they literally meant rune, not rune stone. Okay. So anyway, enchant permanent. Whenever Rune of Aviation enters the battlefield, draw a card. Great. As long as enchanted permanent is a creature, it has flying. So why would you attach it to anything else? I guess a manland if you wanted your manland to fly while it's a creature, whatever. And then as long as enchanted permanent is an equipment, it has equipped creature has flying. Okay. I mean, that's actually really interesting. So you could attach this to an equipment, and then when they blow up the creature, the equipment falls off but stays in play, and so does the aura, because the aura is on the equipment. That's actually brilliant. I'm convinced that like 4 people designed this set and like 3 of them really knew what they were doing, because we've seen the best design cards I have seen in like the last 5 years in this set, and then we've seen the most broken, egregious shit I've seen in the last 5 years as well. Whoever's behind some of these should be fired, and I think we all know it's probably Mark Rosewater. And allegedly Aaron Forsyth approved them all and play tested them personally, so good job, Aaron. Keep putting in the old A+ effort there. Next up, Tergrid's Shadow. Is it Tegrid or Turgrid? They can't seem to decide. In different languages, it's a different word, which is not how proper nouns work. So anyway, Typo's Shadow here is a 5-cost black instant. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures, and that's it. That's what it does. The whole I don't care if my creatures die and I'm going to make them die on purpose seems to be a growing theme, but we haven't seen enough support for it yet. But some of the snow stuff comes back as a zombie, and some of the stuff your opponent like gets killed you can res with another card. So I mean, it's coming together. That's a very, very obnoxious, toxic thing to push, though, is, oh, I don't care if my creatures die because they're taking yours out too. We've had stuff like that, and it's bad. Usually you add like a countdown timer pinger to it, and you just win that way. Like, oh, every upkeep you take 1 damage or whatever. And then you just delay by blowing stuff up and repeatedly rezzing from your graveyard. Very annoying. So this is Foretell 4, which, I mean, is 1 less than 5. Who gives a crap, honestly? Next up, Dogged Pursuit. Ooh, we just read about that. That thing that happened. She's in that cave. Go watch my fantastic coverage of the lore. So this is a 4-cost enchantment at the beginning of your end step. There it is. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. I assure you I did not look ahead at these before I speak. I'm just that good at knowing what they're trying to push because I've seen it 30 times before. So here's your pinger. Here's your, just sit there and, delay and win the game. Remember, this shares a color with Doom Foretold. So yeah, of course Mirror Maid is still legal. Of course this is not a legendary enchantment. Of course it's in the common slot. Of course it shouldn't have been printed. It's too damn annoying. At least it costs 4 instead of 3. Next up is Open the Omen Paths. It's a 3-cost instant. Choose add 2 mana of any one color and 2 mana of any other color. Oh, good. A paid mana, get more mana out. That never gets banned in Modern and Legacy and Vintage. I totally don't have multiple examples of that from multiple ban lists. Jeweled Lotus and Black Lotus totally aren't like really expensive cards. I mean, just give people 10 mana on turn 1. I mean, why not? What are we waiting for? So anyway, you can only spend this mana to cast creatures or enchantment spells, so basically what you were going to anyway, so that is a nothing restriction. And then creatures you control get +1/+0 till end of turn, but you can only choose one or the other. There's a lot of toxic crap in red that costs 5 and up, a lot of dragons and stuff, a lot of stuff even in this set, and this just helps you enable it. So this and Foretell together, no thanks. Not that I remember if any red spells are actually with Foretell, but I also don't care. Next up, Boreal Outrider. It's a 3-cost 3/2 Elf Warrior. Oh, I'm sorry, they must have spelled Elk Warrior incorrectly. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if 1 snow mana of any of that spell's colors was spent to cast it, that doesn't make sense. I thought it's either snow or it's not. Like it was generated by a snow thing, so you say it generated a snow mana, not a colored mana. I thought that's how that worked. So if one of the generic costs of a spell was snow mana, then that creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. I must not be remembering that rule correctly, or Wizards must not be remembering that rule correctly. It's a 50-50. Okay, now I don't even remember what this does. So something about a creature spell and... Oh, it ETBs with a counter if you spent snow on it. Yeah, these snow cards are getting even more egregious. This is pretty damn powerful. You can actually use the whole it has a counter or it doesn't thing to 1, fend off a really good black kill spell, 2, move your counters when it dies with that stupid Ozolith thing. You got Yorvo or whatever his name is, something about when a counter happens, give him a counter or whatever. Yeah, this is a lot better than it looks. Next up, we've got Stirs des Emporkomelins or something. I guess that's Fall of the Imposter. So it's a 3-cost saga. 1 and 2 are put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature. Fantastic. And then 3 is exile a creature with the greatest power among creatures target opponent controls. So that's just a solid, good saga. I mean, it's not too fast. It gives your opponent time to breathe, but, they still might not be able to stop it. So as you can see by the art on the right side, clearly 2 humans get 1/1 counters. They get all uppity over it. They go find fake Loki, drag him down out of his tree fort, and then climb back up and steal all of his delicious tree fort cheese. What? You can't say I'm any worse at interpreting art than some stuck-up douchebag in a New York art exhibit. Those people are faker than wine snobs. Next up, we've got Carter Doomscourge Krieger. Wait, if this is Carter Doomscourge... First of all, that isn't in line with the Doom Scar, which I think is what they called the Collision of Realms, right? So it's like they got it right in German and got it wrong in English, which that's interesting. And then secondly, wait a minute, are you trying to tell me that Krieger means Scourge? Because I know a lot of people with the last name of Krieger, and that's some funny shit. And also they pronounce it Kruger, which is completely incorrect. And I regularly tell it to them to their face. So anyway, this is a legendary creature because occasionally they put legendary on stuff. Demon Berserker. When Carter Doomscourge enters the battlefield until your next turn, creatures your opponent's control attack each combat if able. But wait, there's more. They also attack a player other than you if able. Neat. I love a good old Thassa's Barbecue Bident Weenie Fork or whatever the hell I call it effect. I think it's called a goat effect, but I mean, the first card I saw that forces people to attack was Thassa's barbecue fork, so you put them weenies on the grill, it's going to force every attacker to come running because, you know, everybody loves some good tasting sausage. And here in Wisconsin, we've got the best of the worst. I speak some German. Also, whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So that's a lot of things. I mean, they all go together. I think they might have gone a little far with this one, but, you know, whatever. This could backfire. They could be sitting on this in their hand and be like, oh, I don't want to force them to attack with everything, I'll lose. But then again, wouldn't they do that anyway? Wouldn't you want a 4/3 in play? So it just like might not benefit you, I guess. I don't know. Looks like a commander to me, which is a commander in the commander format. Next up, we got another God to Fact, which is a half god, half artifact. On artifact side, it's Torrolfs Hammer. It's a 2-cost. So if you equip it to a creature and its equip cost is 2, it has pay 2, tap it, and then unattach it. It is irrelevant if equipment is tapped, by the way. And then it deals 3 damage to any target. Return Torrolfs Hammer to its owner's hand. Okay, now it really doesn't matter if it's tapped. Also, I get this question all the time. If a creature with equipment taps to attack, is the equipment tapped too? No. Another interesting thing is, you might think, oh, well, you know, when you say target player discards a card and loses 3 life, they still lose 3 life even if they can't discard a card, because it keeps resolving even though that part isn't met. That's because that's an effect. So this is phrased, pay 2, comma, tap, comma, unattach the hammer, colon, which means all 3 of those are part of the cost. If you can't satisfy every part of the cost stated before the colon, then you cannot do this. So if you can't unattach it, if it's just sitting there not attached to anything, then you can't activate this. So just keep that in mind. So anyway, if you do that, it deals 3 damage to any target, which is nice, and then return it to its owner's hand. So, okay, cool. Why was it tapped? I still don't get it. Also, equipped creature gets +3/+0 as long as it's legendary. Otherwise, this does absolutely nothing. So you'd pay 2 to equip it because there's also no ETB free equip, and then pay 2 to unequip it just to deal 3 damage, and then do it again. I mean, 4 mana for an unlimited 3 damage is actually pretty decent. With the slight exception that it says return it to hand. So you'd actually have to drop it in for 2, attach it for 2, then pay 2 more to unattach it. So it's actually 6. So on this side, this is just complete trash. I mean, a 2-drop with 2 equip that gives +3 attack to a legendary, okay, if you have enough legendaries, but this is a dumpster fire equipment right here. This is just terrible. It's barely playable. On the other side, though, we got Torrolf himself, God of Fury. It's a 4-cost 5/4 with Trample, which is already pretty ballin'. And then whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, Torrolf deals damage equal to the excess to any target other than that permanent, aka Mega Trample. You knew I was going to say it. I mean, there's no way I wasn't going to say it. I mean, come on. And the person who came up with Megamorph is clearly not only a Power Rangers fan, but a naming genius. They definitely are not rumored to be famous for, when people make fun of the name Megamorph and say it's a stupid name, reporting that person to HR saying that it's a trans rights issue. That totally isn't a thing that they are definitely doing, according to multiple, as far as I'm concerned, verified accounts from other people who work there. Anyway, excess damage would be, okay, I'm swinging with Trample for 5, I hit your creature for 4, 1 is the excess damage. It says non-combat, so it isn't referring to Trample, even though the card itself has Trample. I mean, I guess you take a red spell that does 5 damage and fry something that's a 1/1, would the 4 be considered excess? Because I'm guessing like a lightning strike, okay, you hit a 2/2 with it, it does 3 damage. Cool. The excess damage does nothing. Then you've got other cards that say excess non-combat spell damage hits the player. So basically overflows, but only to the player. This is one better where it says excess damage from a lightning strike can be directed at anything. I mean, that's my reading of it. I can't imagine what else this would possibly mean. So we're going with that. He's almost as dumb as the hammer on the other side, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it's neat, but you'd have to be running some high-level burn, and then why are you running burn if you're not trying to beat them on turn 4? So next up, we got Divine Gambit. It's a double white sorcery. That usually means trouble. Exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment an opponent controls. That player may put a permanent card from their hand onto the battlefield. Holy crap, you thought the downside from Swords to Plowshares was bad. I have had so many morons in Modern play that and be like, haha, I get rid of your thing on turn 2. Haha, there's no downside at all, as they accelerate me 3 turns worth of mana because 1/3 of my deck is lands. And then I absolutely crush them by casting spells 3 turns earlier than I would have. People who play that card in Modern don't even have a basic grasp of how the game works, okay? Vintage and Legacy, where it's probably not going past turn 2 or 3 anyway, go for it. Exile it. Who cares? Give them a land. They probably don't even give a crap. They're probably going to have 12 mana available on turn 2 anyway. I don't think one more land is going to make a difference. What you want is their stupid, broken, combo-enabling trash gone. But this is Swords to Plowshares on a whole new level. They can put anything in their hand onto the battlefield. If you cast this on literally anything your opponent controls, you absolutely deserve it when they slam something even worse into play. And rereading it, no, you can't target your own permanent. It says so right there. This is quite possibly the dumbest spell I have ever seen, period. Like, out of the 30,000 unique spells in the game, I don't think I've seen one more suicidally carelessly stupid than this. The only time, and I mean only time, that comes to mind immediately that this would be hilarious to cast is when they don't have any cards in hand. But that would be so late into the game that you could probably just cast Banishing Light for 1 more mana. So just do that. And, with Banish, you could, not wait until their hand is empty. Which a properly built deck won't commonly have an empty hand. I mean, I'm just saying. At least not the vast majority of the time, it will not, because top decking is a death sentence. So yeah, is this just like the worst card ever printed, or am I missing something here? I don't know. Feel free to fill me in if I totally am having something fly over my head. Next up, we've got Tibbles Trickery, a 2-cost instant that says counter target spell. F you too, wizards. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to let red counter spells when you've already got a white counter spell and a freaking green counter spell, actually 3 of them, in standard currently, that are all devastating game-breaking color pie breaks. So this is a just slap in the face to anybody who plays Magic or knows how cards should be designed. So anyway, counter target spell for 2 without any blue whatsoever, any target spell at all, then choose 1, 2, or 3 at random, so not choose, it would be select. Choose implies that you're choosing it. Its controller mills that many cards, then exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card with a different name than that spell. They may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then they put the exiled cards on the bottom of their library in random order. Okay, that was a lot of garbage happening. I didn't follow a damn word of that. I'm still getting over the whole counter target spell, and this is red absolute bullshit. So, select 1, 2, or 3 at random. Okay, 2. Its controller mills 2 cards. Okay, why? Then exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card with a different name than that spell, which had nothing to do with milling cards. I just threw that in because now this is also a blue spell. So, I mean, why not let it mill cards? What the hell? So obviously the very next card is going to be a different spell than the one you just countered. It would be an actual miracle if it's the same card. So then you just skip past it. Okay, cool, whatever. They may cast that card. Not necessarily. Not if the card isn't castable. Not if it's a land. It's playable, but it's not castable. You don't cast lands. And since people tend to run 20 to 24 lands in the typical deck, 1 in 3 shot of it being a land. Because 1/3 of their 60 card deck or more is lands. So anyway, they may cast it without paying its mana cost, and yes, that effect historically does let you bypass sorcery speed, so if it's a creature, yes, you're casting a creature at instant speed on the stack. Oh well. And then the exiled cards go to the bottom of the library in random order. What the hell was the point of choosing a number and milling? What did any of that do? Besides make this card even more blue. What even is this? What is this bullshit card? It's a counterspell that might backfire in your face. Wow, great. You think red players still aren't going to play it? It counters anything. This is literally the card counterspell. Except it's better because it has mill attached. And then, they might get a free cast out of it. But it's only whatever is the next card. Great. So yeah, it could be a 9 cost that you're letting them play for free. Great. That does not in any way make up for the fact that this is a red spell that says counter target spell, okay? You can't do that. People who are aligned with red mana can't do that. The color red can't do that. Red mana canonically in the red ley line on every plane cannot do that. It is incapable of taking a spell and making it fizzle, okay? The best that red mana can do is deflect it, clone it, or I don't know, maybe bounce it back to hand. Have we even seen that? No, I think that's blue. I mean, we've seen fork. Oh no, redirect is actually blue. What does red do to spells? It replicates them. That's it. It can copy, it can't stop a spell. It is in the universe, in the lore, incapable of stopping a spell. What is this bullshit other than Mark Rosewater snickering in a corner going, oh, people are going to think I'm so cool because I did this thing. It's really splashy and nobody's ever seen this before. And because nobody's ever seen this before and I'm pushing things and it's like, wow, you can't do that. That is so wild of you to do that. Whoa, Mark Rosewater, you are like the craziest, best, nuttiest designer ever, and I have so much respect for you. He literally thinks that. He thinks that way. He has made many, many statements where he's like, I like big, splashy, never-before-seen things. I like to do things and push the boundaries. He's said that like 100 times. This card right here should have been called Mark Rosewater's Resignation, not Tibbles Trickery, okay? This card is absolute bullshit. It needs to be banned from everything, every format that exists, and they need to fire whoever the hell was behind this, because this. Yes, I know there's a white counter spell called Mana Tithe. The whole point in the lore was it's an alternate history with time travel and shit, and it's a different universe than ours, where it's like a big what if. What if the colors acted differently? What if the counter spell color was white? Okay, that is canonically the storyline. Should Mana Tithe then be allowed to work in our universe in the game that we played? No, it absolutely should not. That card should be banned from every format because it's basically an uncard. It's a what if things were this way? What if there could be fourth wall breaks? What if, all the other shit in unsets? What if there was, supersonic turbo snail with like ultra haste or whatever the hell? What if there was a giant with last strike or a garbage elemental it was specifically? Yeah, those are all funny, haha, alternate universe what ifs, but keep them out of the game, So even if you're going to point at Mana Tithe and say, see, white has a counterspell, you can move it to other colors just once or whatever, or just on special occasions. There is nothing in the lore that supports this whatsoever, and this is just bullshit. This is just absolute Wizards bullshittery. And by the way, I checked ahead of time because people warned me about this freaking card. The social media backlash in response to this is basically one giant middle finger to Wizards, so I'm not the only one who thinks this way. If you think there's nothing wrong with this, you are just too ignorant about the game to know what the hell you're talking about. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it is what it is, and I tell it like it is. So moving on from this absolute disgrace, we've got some more foreign shit that I have to go translate. Great, awesome. Let's see. This is Revive the Draugr. No, leave him dead. Black has enough resurrection shit already. Also, that translates to Resuscitate the Draugr. So it's a 2-cost instant. Choose one. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Thank God doesn't go to the battlefield. Or return 2 target creature cards that share a creature type from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, good. We need more of that. Because Black totally isn't abusing it in Black-Blue Rogues. For the record, those go straight back to the battlefield. At least one of the spells does that. So, can you even make it worse at this point? Probably not. I've got to say, 2 cards with virtually no restriction on like mana cost, size, or any of that going straight back to your hand for 2 mana? I mean, damn. Next up, Carter's Vicious Return. It's a 4-cost. You may sacrifice a creature. When you do, Carter's Return deals 3 damage to any target. Okay. More of that black, I actually wanted it to die anyway bullshit. Each player discards a card for number 2. That's annoying. And then return target creature card from your graveyard with absolutely no limit on its size or mana cost whatsoever because a dumbass designed this card. Put a 1/1 counter on it because I'm sure it's not big enough already. And then it gains haste until your next turn. Because why give your opponent time to breathe or blink? Just resurrect Embercool and shove her straight down their throat. I hate Resurrector decks and I hate this spell. It's slow as shit for like other formats, but I don't care. This shouldn't exist. Next up, it's Jorn, God of Winter, another absolute disaster that I was warned about before I even started these spoilers. It's a 3/3 for 3, legendary snow creature god, and when Jorn attacks, untap each snow permanent you control. I'm sure, I am 100% certain that that can't be an infinite loop of some sort. Oh wait, I am sure, and that is what it is. I could name about 10 of them right now, but I don't want to give people inspiration. Coincidentally, I think one of the tap dance cards is actually called Inspiration. Anyway, yeah, this is abusable bullshit. Maybe not in standard, but in other formats. Yeah, it's like, oh, untap every snow permanent only. Who gives a shit? I don't give a shit. You don't give a shit. There's probably some snow permanent that you can do something messed up with. Whatever, it's a 3/3. Hopefully you can put together something that kills him. So then hopefully when they get their infinite combo going and immediately win the game from the infinite combo, then the next time he swings, oh wait, let me just stop myself right there. That makes no sense. On the other side, for some reason, it's two completely different colors. It's Kaldheim the Rhyme Staff. Great. Legendary snow artifact. You tap it and you may place target snow permanent card from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters battlefield tapped. Yep, I'm so sure that that's not abusable. I guarantee if they didn't put tapped, it would be. I could name some right now. It would be a snow permanent with tap and sack. Isn't there something that grants all permanents snow ability or some little attachment thing? I don't know. Whatever, this is just asking for trouble, and the whole, oh, snow gets to resurrected stuff infinite number of times. That is starting to sound really flippin' annoying. Cards that keep coming back and coming back and coming back and coming back and you just can't kill them unless you exile them are one of the most annoying things in the game, right up there with Mill. Oh, and hexproof creatures, it's all the same crap. So this card is just an absolute 0 to 10 dumpster fire mistake of a card. Especially like, are you playing a green deck or are you playing a black-blue deck? You're certainly not playing a green-black-blue deck, that's not even a thing. But this, I play that. Shut the hell up. Shut up. Shut your mouth. I am not talking about Commander. I'm talking about Standard. Nobody plays that color combination right now, and nobody's going to play that color combination when this bullshit drops. So next up, we've got Roots of Wisdom. It's a 2-cost sorcery. Mill 3 cards, because this is apparently a black or blue card. Then return a land card or elf card from your graveyard to your hand, which is also a black ability. If you can't, then draw a card. That's kind of colorless. That's universal. Yeah, this is not a green card, and that is honestly one of the dumber ways to get an elf. Next up, Axeguard Cavalry. It's a 2-cost 2/2. Target creature gains haste until end of turn, but then you can't attack with this, so what the hell's the point? This card's a dumpster fire. Just like the rest of the set, but for varying reasons. Also, my god, is that some weird MLP, like, alternate universe with goats weirdness right there. Next up, Wither Crown. You know I'm going to make a joke about Without Her Crown. I'm just waiting to read the card. It's a 2-cost enchantment aura. Enchanted creature. Enchanted creature has base power 0 and has at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life unless you sacrifice this creature. So sacrifice the creature. What even is this? It's a 2-cost kill spell where they might keep the creature around and just take the penalty if the creature's activated ability or some kind of triggered ability is good enough. But then, wouldn't you just want it gone for 2 mana? Isn't that the point of casting a 2-cost black spell, is I want that thing gone? Not I want them to have the option of keeping it, and maybe they might take some damage, but I'm still going to lose because I really needed that thing to go away? Yeah, this is a stupid card. I think we could do Without Her Crown. There it is. Next up, Herald, King of Skemfar. Oh, great. And also, you spelled Herald wrong. It's traditionally spelled with an O. It's a 3-cost 3/2 legendary creature elf warrior. It has menace. Great. And when it enters battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal an elf warrior or Tyvar card, really, from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. Great. This whole elf, tribal, elf ball, elf legendary shit, already getting on my last nerve. I hate the elves. I hate tribal decks. Now they've got all the support. And honestly, Rogues is still going to kick the living shit out of that deck, so it doesn't even matter. But in order to sell the new set, or at least try to convince people that it's worth buying, they're going to do something about Rogues shortly before or shortly after the set drops. I assure you. Next up, oh, Herald's back again. Herald unites the elves. I don't care. I wish they would all separate and die. I wish their whole race would die off horribly in some kind of disease-ridden genocide. And you know what? They can take their stupid little, sea elves, aka the merfolk, with them. I hate them too. Take a guess if I wish the same fate upon the slivers. There are some tribals that just were a mistake and are perpetually made worse. So anyway, number 1, mill 3 cards. You may put an elf or Tyvar card from your graveyard directly onto the battlefield, because why not? Then put a 1/1 counter on each elf you control. Wow, this card, then whenever an elf you control attacks this turn, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1. So you swing with your giant elf ball and kill absolutely everything, or make it impossible to come up with a valid block. So that's great. F you. All three of those are overpowered bullshit in an already overpowered bullshit tribal, and all it costs is 4. Screw this card. Next up, Throne of Death, which is, I guess, another artifact god thing. Aren't we over the limit on these? Haven't we had a full cycle of these? I don't know. Some of them are 2 color, some of them are 3 color. I'm deeply confused. Anyway, at the beginning of your upkeep, mill a card. Okay. Pay 3, tap it, exile a creature card from your graveyard, draw a card. Okay. So unlimited card draw for 3. You can only do once per turn, but it's still, outdrawing your opponent 2-1. That's pretty toxic. Ooh, but you might accidentally mill yourself out. Yeah, 30, 40 turns from now. I guess 20, because you'd be drawing cards. Whatever, who cares? And on the other side, we've got Egon, God of Death. It's a 3-cost 6/6 with Death Touch, because of course it is. And at the beginning of your upkeep, exile 2 cards from your graveyard. If you can't, sacrifice Egon and draw a card. Good luck keeping this in play. And also, why the actual hell does a 6/6 need Death Touch? What even is that? If you grant it Trample, it's hilarious because Mega Death Trample is absolutely inherently broken. Other than that, why does this exist? It does say upkeep, so you could throw this out and then, okay, I could block during my opponent's next turn. Boom, next upkeep on your turn, it dies. Okay, I mean, that's stupid, but whatever. You might get a death trigger off it. You might get like a size-based death trigger with some decks. There's going to be something you can do, not in standard that I know of. Next up, Feed the Serpent. It's 4-cost instant. Exile target creature, Planeswalker. There it is. Planeswalker creature hybrid killer. This is your new heroic downfall, but for 1 more mana, so it probably won't even be that good. But it is exile. Next up, hey, it's words I know in a language I know. It's immobilize with gold. I might want to check that. That doesn't make sense. Nope. Yep, that's immobilize with gold. Okay. I mean, you try and move if you're gold-plated. It sounds difficult. So this is a 3-cost enchantment. It's an aura. It's a common, so it can't be that good. Yeah, it's just your average pin down. That's what I figured. Enchanted permanent. So you can enchant any permanent, by the way. Enchanted permanent can't attack, block, or crew vehicles. This is huge, by the way, because you can attach it to a land while it's like a man land while it's not a man land. It just says permanent and it doesn't say non-land permanent. Finally, a way to stop manlands. I know they're not even in standard, but there's so few ways to do that. If they ever print a manland again, which they kind of did in this set, this'll do it. And it's just a traditional white pin down for 3. So, I mean, this is great. So also, it can't activate its abilities unless they're mana abilities. So that's actually going a little further than white even usually does. I wish it would suppress triggered abilities, though, because activated abilities are one thing, triggered abilities are usually the problem ones, and I can't even think of a card that suppresses that. I mean, there are blue ones that say it loses all abilities of all types, but that's kind of different. It's usually also turning into a frog or a fish. And finally, the last card in this absolute shit hurricane barrage of broken, color pie breaking trash is Elderfang Disciple. It's a 2-cost elf cleric. It's a 1/1. And when it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. I already hate this. I hate this. I hate the elves. I hate discarding cards. I want to play my damn cards. Stop touching cards in my hand. If you touch them again, I'm going to put a knife through your hand and pin it to the table, and we'll see if you cast that bullshit again. Yes, that applies to Mind Rot effects too. I'm sick of not being able to play my fucking cards. Did you hear that, Croxa, you fucking jackass? So here, I got a riddle for you. What's the only thing worse than Elf Tribal? Elf Tribal, while they also don't let you hold cards in your hand to do anything about it. This card is complete cancer. Elves are cancer. This whole set is cancer. I don't want any of this shit anywhere near my game, anywhere near the format that I like to play the most, or at least formerly did, standard. So yeah, when does this shit rotate out? Isn't it end of 2022, I believe? Something like that? Yeah. Great. Fantastic. Get the Banhammer ready, Wizards, because you got a lot of toxic shit you're gonna have to clean up. I mean, this toxic waste cleanup that is standard makes Fukushima look like something a janitor could take care of in a night. This set is beyond an absolute atrocity at this point, and we've only seen, I think, about 2/3 of the cards. So, can't wait to see the rest of these spoilers. I can't wait to see Mark's reference to killing somebody with poison. That'll be great. And I'll see you guys next video.